Après 8 ans de Justin Trudeau, le coût de logement a doublé, le loyer a doublé, les paiements hypothécaires ont doublé, les premiers versements pour obtenir une maison ont doublé. Le nombre de Canadiens qui sont sans abri s'explose dans nos plus grandes villes. Maintenant, Halifax doit mettre à côté de terrain juste pour des tentes pour que la classe moyenne puisse vivre dans une vacance de camping interminable. Après 8 ans de Justin Trudeau, on a la pire inflation dans 4 décennies et la plus vite augmentation dans les taux d'intérêt dans l'histoire monétaire de notre pays. Après 8 ans de Justin Trudeau, le taux de criminalité violente a augmenté de 40 % et les Canadiens vivent dans la peur. Et maintenant, après 8 ans de Justin Trudeau, on vit dans l'embarras total en ce qui concerne notre réputation internationale. Après les événements à la Chambre des communes, il y a une grande honte que tous les Canadiens doivent vivre. Quelle catastrophe! Et le Premier ministre se cache. Où est-il? Où est le Premier ministre aujourd'hui? S'il pense que ses gestes et son comportement est parfait, pourquoi n'est-il pas à la Chambre des communes pour se défendre et pour s'expliquer? Il se cache en dessous d'une roche en même temps qu'il devrait être à la Chambre des communes pour réparer le dommage inestimable à notre réputation internationale. Ça, c'est la pire crise dans notre réputation diplomatique dans l'histoire du pays. Honnêtement, essayez de trouver un autre exemple où le Canada a eu un plus grand embarras ou une plus grande honte que maintenant. Et notre premier ministre, qui est à Ottawa, se cache et qu'il ne veut pas se présenter devant la Chambre des communes. C'est vrai que le président libéral de la Chambre des communes a pris sa démission. Mais le premier ministre doit prendre responsabilité aussi. C'est Justin Trudeau qui avait invité le président Zelenskyy à la Chambre des communes. C'est Justin Trudeau qui contrôle les agences qui sont responsables pour vérifier tous ceux et celles qui sont permis d'être proches à la présidente Zelenskyy. C'est le GRC, les services de renseignement, les affaires mondiaux. Tous ces agences et départements ont comme leur patron Justin Trudeau. C'est lui qui est responsable pour ses actions. Et s'il n'a pas vérifié les listes, si ces agences n'ont pas vérifié les listes de tous les invités, c'est un échec monumental pour lequel la tête du gouvernement, le premier ministre, devrait prendre la responsabilité. Il ne peut pas blâmer tous les autres pour un échec après l'autre. Il doit finalement prendre la responsabilité pour tout ce qu'il a brisé, y compris notre réputation internationale. Thank you very much, and now in English. After 8 years of Justin Trudeau, everything costs more, work doesn't pay, housing costs have doubled, crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder are common in our streets. Starting with inflation, it's the worst in 4 decades. Interest rates are rising faster than at any time in Canadian monetary history. Housing costs have doubled. The rent has doubled. Mortgage payments have doubled. Down payments needed for the average house have doubled. Double trouble after 8 years of Trudeau. In Canada, where it now takes 25 years to save for a down payment, the same time you used to pay off a house in. And it's more affordable to buy a castle in Sweden or Scotland than it is to buy a home in Toronto or Kitchener. That's 8 years of Justin Trudeau. 8 years of Trudeau, and violent crime is up 40%. And now, in addition to the rising costs and rising crime, Canada's reputation is broken. This is, by far, the biggest hit Canada's diplomatic reputation has ever taken in its history. And it happened under Justin Trudeau's watch. He chose to invite President Zelenskyy to Canada. He chose to have him on the floor of the House of Commons. He was therefore responsible for ensuring that that visit was a success. And all of the agencies that were supposed to protect a foreign head of state in our country, the RCMP, CSIS, Global Affairs Canada, and the Privy Council Office, all report ultimately to one man, that is Justin Trudeau. And who is the one man who is in hiding today? Justin Trudeau, hiding under a rock, unwilling or unable to defend his conduct on the floor of the House of Commons. If he is so blameless, why was he not in Parliament yesterday or today to explain his conduct? He was in Ottawa, but he was in hiding. That is the mark of a man who doesn't take responsibility and is not up to the job of Prime Minister of Canada. Thank you very much.
All of you got up and clapped. Shouldn't all of you have to stand and apologize? Shouldn't you, Mr. Poilievre?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because what we were told is that we had a Ukrainian veteran. There are Ukrainian veterans who fought both Nazis and Soviets. There are many proud Ukrainians who are against both fascism and communism and all other forms of socialism. Sitting on the floor of the House of Commons with less than a millisecond to do any vetting, what would you have us do? Open up our phones and do a Google search on this person whose name was suddenly and spontaneously mentioned from the front of the room? Impossible. But you know what would not have been impossible? For the Prime Minister to have one of his top agencies call the Speaker and say, hey, we're having possibly the single biggest target for assassinations anywhere in the world, the President of Ukraine, on the floor of the House of Commons. We'd like to know who's going to be in the room.
Are you suggesting that this man was a risk to Mr. Zelensky's physical safety?
No, but anybody could be a risk when you're in the middle of a war as a foreign head of state and you go to the floor of the House of Commons. We want to make sure we know everybody who's going to be in that room. The truth is, when you're protecting a foreign head of state of a democratic country who's defending himself against an illegal invasion, you need to know everybody who's in that room. They say they didn't know.
Is it not possible?
That's what they say.
No, but the House office said that the security went through that list. So
Well,
it's possible they decided 98.
Which security?
I don't know. That's what the House says. That
Which security would have gone through it?
Ask the House. The House, the office of the Speaker says that it went through security.
Which security?
Parliamentary Protective Service.
So you're telling me that the Prime Minister of Canada did not have his security officials check the identity of all of the people who were within striking distance of the President of Ukraine? Really? Incredible.
Are you saying that he's a security threat? He's 98. It's
I'm not
possible.
saying, I'm saying that everybody who was in the room had to have been vetted to make sure that they weren't a security threat.
Is vetting for security not different than vetting for political implications?
No, because if you had so much as typed his name into a Google search, you would have found out that he was a Nazi. And you would think that our security forces would have been able to do that.
Barring an apology, what else do you want him to do?
Vous avez tweeté que M. Rota devra démissionner seulement après que les libéraux ont dit qu'ils voulaient qu'il démissionne et après le NPD, le Bloc. Pourquoi vous avez attendu aussi longtemps pour vous-même commenter une possible démission de M. Rota?
La responsabilité de cette affaire reste avec Justin Trudeau. C'est lui qui avait le contrôle de toutes les agences, qui avait la responsabilité de protéger, oui, la sécurité et la diplomatie. Il a un grand édifice chez Pearson où ils sont responsables, tous les fonctionnaires sont responsables de défendre les intérêts et la réputation diplomatique du Canada. Ce département travaille pour Justin Trudeau. Eux autres, ils auraient pu regarder la liste, ils auraient pu demander la liste et faire des recherches sur chaque personne qui était permis d'entrer dans la Chambre des communes et d'être en proximité avec le président d'Ukraine. Si Justin Trudeau et son gouvernement n'ont pas fait ça, c'est lui qui est le responsable et c'est lui qui devrait s'excuser auprès des Canadiens et auprès du monde.
Or an apology. What else would you like to see the government do?
Well, we need to have hearings now into how this was allowed to happen, how it is that the Prime Minister would have allowed President Zelenskyy to be in a room full of 300 or 400 unvetted people. I find it astonishing. When you have a foreign head of state or Prime Minister in Canada, you have motorcades of security, you have bulletproof glass, you have every single person who comes in or out of a building vetted or verified. And the fact that they could not, under Mr. Trudeau's leadership, find the Nazi links of this individual, which you can find by hitting a Google search, shows an incredible incompetence that needs to be explained and accounted for in a parliamentary committee. And so we will be seeking a full study of how this was allowed to happen, and Justin Trudeau should testify in that.
Thanks so much, Mr. Poilievre. Have you been offered or received a briefing on the alleged assassination of a Canadian citizen by the Indian government?
So the Indian government has not offered me any briefing. The Prime Minister said that that was a possibility. He offered the same briefing to NDP Premier Eby, who said that all he got was information he could have gotten online. He offered similar briefings to Elizabeth May with regards to China, and she said that she did not get her questions answered, as did Mr. Singh when he had a previous briefing on the Chinese interference. This is not going to provide necessary information. All it would do is inhibit my ability to speak. Thank you.
C'est pas la faute de M. Rota, non?
Oui, il a blâmé. Le président libéral aurait dû démissionner immédiatement, et en même temps, Justin Trudeau devrait s'en excuser. Merci beaucoup.
Le président conservateur.